I see. Now, I mean, you started in the 50s, didn't you, with your brother?
Yes.
Was it something to do with, was it the Mars Bars or something?
Yes, Jerry Marsden and the Mars Bars. It was a skiffle band we had, actually, David, but Mars Bars wouldn't allow us to use the name, so we dropped it and chose the Pacemakers instead. And I think it was a better move.
Who actually chose the Mars Bars for a name?
I don't know, just a conglomeration of me and our kid, I think, to just sat down and said, we thought Mars for the name Marsden and Bars for the Bars of Music.
So how did you actually form the Pacemakers?
Just through skiffle, and then we went on to rock and roll.
I see, and of course the biggest hits, or some of the biggest hits you've had have been You'll Never Walk Alone. Originally, of course, what a marvellous success that record was for you.
Yeah, How'd You Do It? I Like It. Ferry Crest the Mersey was my favourite as well. Don't Let the Sun Catch You Crying, Walk Alone, yes. Very lucky, really, David, that the records took on, and the people enjoyed them, and they sang them and sang along with us. And yes, we were very lucky.
Also, Tom, let's get this quite clear, you're a songwriter, a famous songwriter. A lot of your songs do have a social comment. They've got something to say, haven't they?
Well, I think so, yeah. I just like to express not so much my opinions, but my feelings about things. I like to react to the way the world really is. I think that we shouldn't be afraid of songs making comments. Good heavens, what else is God Saved the Queen but a song that has something to say? You see, it's God Save Our Gracious Queen. And that's a statement, you see. And I like to make statements too. I like to say, here's to you, my rambling boy. May all your rambling bring you joy. Or I like to take the mickey out of the President of the United States. I mean, it's a grand old tradition. You know, bring them down, throw the rascals out, or throw the rascals in. It depends on your point of view.
Now, very briefly, we'll talk about how you actually formed the Animals, because, I mean, everybody remembers the Animals. Can you remember those days? You look back with some fond memories?
Well, yes, I mean, they were very exciting days. We didn't know what was going to happen, and I played around in a band called The Pagans with Eric Burden, who was really the leader in the sense that he chose the material, and I was his musical translator. And so it was round about 1957-58 we first got together. So before we became successful in 1964, we'd had about 7 years' experience as semi-pros who were ready for the big time when it did hit us, in one sense, in that we had enough material. But in mental terms, I don't think we were adjusting to it at 21 years old, you know, going to America and having #1 hits. It all came too fast for me, so I only stood the pace for about 15 months.
And what about those hits? Any particular ones that you are fond of?
Of the Animals, I think they made their best records after I left them. It's My Life and what was the other one? We Got to Get Out of This Place, I think was a great record.
Where are the guys these days? Are they flying around the world as well?
Peter was with me this past weekend. We're planning on touring together in Australia. Next year, February, I think, is the month we'll be doing it. It's the 20th anniversary of the Monkees next year, so there's a great possibility we'll get together for a reunion, either on film or on the stage. Nothing's definite, but Mickey Dolenz works in the theatre and works in television over here. He's had a show on the stage in the West End, Bugsy Malone, and he's had a couple of TV series, Luna and Metal Mickey. Mike Nesmith had his own show in America called Television Parts, which is much the same as the Kenny Everett show, I would think. And Peter Tork, he tours and writes and teaches music, and we're all doing okay.
And you met up with the Shadows. They were the Drifters. You were the Drifters at first, weren't you? And then the Shadows. How did the team meet? How did you all get together?
Well, the original Drifters were a couple of school friends of myself, and a drummer and a guitarist to myself. And then we met someone who played guitar better than any of us, so he came and joined us as kind of a lead guitar. And but they were the very original Drifters. And on the very first record that I made, Move It, there was only two of them on there, the drummer and the guy that played the bass guitar riff that goes dung, you know. So there were only two of them on there. The other Shadows, as they are known now, came a little bit later. So even Hank, bless him, is not one of the original Shadows, Drifters rather. But when I first was asked to go on tour, I realized that the band I had, which included myself on guitar, a drummer and another guitarist, was not enough to hold a stage with. So the guy who was acting as my manager at the time, John Foster, rushed into London, came back very excited saying, I've seen somebody that looks like Buddy Holly, plays guitar like James Burton, and his name's Hank B. Marvin. And he's got a mate of his who also plays guitar. So they joined us then. And during the tour, we met Jet Harris, who in fact was playing bass for somebody else, but who loved my music so much that he sat in with us night after night. And after that particular tour, we asked him to join the band. And between them, between Jet and Hank and Bruce, they remembered a drummer called Tony Meehan, whom they jammed with at the Two Eyes Coffee Bar. So we approached Tony and asked him to join us. So the following tour, The Shadows as they are known now, were my band.